I am come of the seed of the people that sorrow, that have no treasure but hope, no riches laid up, but a memory of an ancient glory. My mother bore me in bondage my mother was born. I am of the blood of serfs. The children with whom I have played, the men and women with whom I have eaten, have had masters over them, have been under the lash of masters, and though gentle, have served chores. The hands that have touched mine, dear hands whose touch is familiar to me, have worn shameful manacles, have been bitten at the wrist by manacles, have grown hard with manacles and the taskwork of strangers. I am flesh of the flesh of these lowly. I am bone of their bone. I that have never submitted. I that have a soul greater than the souls of my people's masters. I that have vision and prophecy and the gift of fiery speech. I that have spoken with God on the top of his holy hill. And because I am of the people, I understand the people. I am sorrowful with their sorrow. I am hungry with their desire. My heart has been heavy with the grief of mothers. My eyes have been wet with the tears of children. I have yearned with old wistful men, and laughed or cursed with young men. Their shame is my shame, and I have reddened for it. Reddened for that they have served, they who should be free. Reddened for that they have gone in want, while others have been full. Reddened for that they have walked in fear of lawyers and of their jailers, with their writs or summons and their handcuffs, men mean and cruel. I could have borne stripes on my body rather than this shame of my people. And now I speak, being full of vision. I speak to my people, and I speak in my people's name to the masters of my people. I say to my people that they are holy, that they are august despite their chains, that they are greater than those that hold them, and stronger and purer, that they have but need of courage and to call on the name of their God, God the unforgetting, the dear God that loves the peoples for whom he died naked, suffering shame. And I say to my people's masters, beware. Beware of the thing that is coming. Beware of the risen people who shall take what ye would not give. Did ye think to conquer the people? Or that law is stronger than life and than man's desire to be free? We will try it out with you. Ye that have harried and held, ye that have bullied and bribed, tyrants, hypocrites, liars.
We are giving you and we are united. Come on! Easy!
Let's take a look at what was happening on the streets tonight with this report from Katrina Perry. The protest began early this morning and swelled to some 500 people at times. Kept behind heavy barricades, those gathered were made up of several different groups and individuals, many of whom had travelled from across the country. Earlier, several scuffles broke out as protesters tried to get access to Leinster House. The most serious occurred just before 6 p.m, when a small group accessed Kildare Street through Buswell's hotel, and then the main body of the crowd surged forward at the barriers. Gardaí pushed back, liberally using pepper spray on the crowd and physically restraining some individuals. One man was taken away by ambulance with a suspected head injury. At that point, Garda reinforcements arrived. The Garda riot squad was on standby, along with the mounted and dog units and the Garda helicopter. At various times during the day, groups broke off to march around the city streets, at one point causing major traffic disruption on O'Connell Bridge.
Well, I disagree with everything that the government is doing. I have a young fella and he's married with 4 kids and he had to go to Poland to find work on the motorways over there.
I have 5 children and I have 3 beautiful grandsons, and I don't want to see them having to emigrate from this country. This is their country, our country. So if I have to start somewhere, and we're starting it today, and we'll go on, I'll go on as long as it takes.
We stand against austerity and the bank bailouts that the government in here have continued to sell to people out. They've been enacting the same rules, same laws of Fianna Fáil. They're not interested in sorting this problem. They're only interested in themselves and Europe.
We are not accepting this, and we want the bankers and responsible people to be brought to court. We did that in Iceland and we are still doing it.
Well, my personal motivation is basically I'm not going to let this government walk on me anymore. They've walked on me for long enough, and I've decided to say no. And by the government actually knocking me out of work, they're costing the Exchequer nearly 20 grand a year by doing that for the sake of €300. But I'll stick with it. I'm not going to bow down to them.
The majority of the protesters have now left the scene, along with a significant number of the Gardaí. Katrina Perry, RTE News, Kildare Street.
David, Gardaí seem to have been anticipating these protests. You were reporting from early morning about the erection of crash barriers around Leinster House.
That's right, Eileen. TDs and senators arriving this morning were taken aback by these new crowd control barriers on the Kildare Street side. The Gardaí obviously taking no chances. In the event, the disturbances were fairly minor, even if traffic disruption was substantial enough. It wasn't a casual protest by any means. It was very well organised earlier on in the day. There were strong Republican elements there. I think it can be taken that there will be more protests like this. But the Gardaí, I think, were intent on not seeing Kildare Street blocked as it was unexpectedly during an earlier smaller protest during the last Dáil term. And throughout the day it seemed to me that the priority from the Garda point of view was to keep Kildare Street open, which they did by and large. Unfortunately, of course, other protests elsewhere in the town caused pretty substantial traffic disruption. So from that point of view, I suppose those behind the protest would have got their point across.
OK, David Davenpower at Leinster House. Thank you. The Minister for Finance,